Peace, Moors. Check this out. Indigenous peoples and the state. The struggle for native rights. You see the indigenous symbols? Our indigenous symbols, locked behind bars, by Bradley Reed Howard. When we let these Europeans in here, we end up losing everything. So in order to know the history, you got to read. Hear me and see me with this right here. See these words on here and hear me talk. So-called Indian nations and European struggles for supremacy. This is when we gave up our indigenous names as Moors and started to refer to ourselves as Indians. Listen to what happened. Trade with the Europeans, no matter how peaceful the relations and how equitable the transactions, consistently led to the decline of so-called Indian autonomy and sovereignty. The sale of land, for example, moved in only one direction, from so-called Indian to European. The territory from so-called Indian political authority to European political authority. See, that's what we dealing with. We dealing with people. No matter how peaceful we are with these people, no matter how much equitable transactions are made with these people, we still end up losing because we still choosing to be linking and doing business with these people, and we giving up our nationality by saying that we're so-called Indians. Listen, hear me out. Early on, the lucrative fur trade fueled the Industrial Revolution, but the sale of pelts to Europeans ultimately led to the decline of animal populations, to economic wars between so-called Indian tribes as they fought for access to European markets and for control of hunting grounds, and to disruption of traditional Indian, so-called Indian values and cultures. We lost ourselves. Mixing with this European, we end up losing ourselves and our land. Check it out. So-called Indians quickly became dependent upon the firearms, textiles, and metal tools and utensils that they received in exchange from Europeans. As a consequence, they apparently lost both appreciation for much of their traditional material culture, talking about so-called Indians, indigenous peoples, and the knowledge needed for its manufacture. So we lost the traditional material culture of ourselves and the knowledge of how we manufactured what we used to do. The so-called Indians also received alcohol in exchange for their products, and alcoholism immediately became the severe problem that it continues to be to this day. So Europeans started giving us alcohol in exchange for our products. And what ended up happening? Alcoholism infected our people to this day. The Europeans consciously targeted the shaman, a central figure of so-called Indian traditional culture, for elimination. See that? They knew what they was doing. They targeted the shaman, who was the central figure of so-called Indian traditional culture. You kill the leader, you kill the movement. But this movement can't be stopped though, because it's in too many people of our people, Moors. Study your history. Study, study, study. You're not Indian, you're not black, you're not Negro. This European is not a white man. They're Europeans, they're foreigners to this land called Al Morocco. Period. Our self-law and master, Islam.